Anytime a new Apple product comes out, nothing else seems to matter. And it really is a shame because there are a lot of laptops as good as the Apple products, but unfortunately they aren't Apple products, so it doesn't feel as sexy to purchase them. Well, I hope you're here to consider a laptop that is half the cost of a MacBook Pro M1 and 90% as good. That's right. I'm not going to lie to you and rave about it being better, because in a few ways it's not. But in enough ways, it is just as good. Let's get rocking. If you're new to the channel, my name is Benji Kaiser. This is where you're going to find the best tech and tools for creative professionals. Also, if you're curious about the exact pricing of either of these laptops as we're going through the video, you can head down in the description below and click one of those links. Now, if you do use that link to make a purchase, I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you, and that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. Now, before we dive into the full head-to-head comparison, I want to answer a common question on every aspiring creator's mind. Can you edit 4K video on this $600-ish laptop? And the simple answer is no. This laptop can handle 1080p like a champ, but 4K, no, it just doesn't have the gumption. It doesn't have that GPU torque and power to really bust out that 4K video editing experience that is smooth, seamless, and enjoyable and not make you want to pull your ever so floppy curly hair out. So let's get that question out of the way and move forward. But the MacBook Pro M1 is not the hottest thing on the block for 4K either. And if you're curious about its abilities, well, you will have to hang on till later in this video when we will jump into the performance benchmarks and look at these two models head to head. Let's take a look at how these two laptops are put together. Both have all aluminum chassis, soft touch keyboards, all-in-one trackpads, a fingerprint reader, 720p webcams, and one singular hinge along the entire bottom bezel of the screen for increased durability and lack of screen flex, which is a big bonus for both of them. Regarding the build quality, you will find a slightly thicker CNC aluminum on the MacBook Pro, but that will cost you nearly an extra half a pound of weight over the Swift 3. Both laptops are very close in thickness at 0.63 on this Acer Swift 3 and 0.61 on the MacBook Pro 13-inch M1. They both have nearly the same screen brightness capabilities, with the Swift 3 snagging 253 nits at full brightness and the MacBook Pro M1 with 303 nits at full brightness. Things take a turn for the MacBook Pro when considering the color accuracy and color gamut range. The 2020 MacBook Pro M1 can reach a color gamut range of 100% sRGB, 89% Adobe RGB, and 100% DCI-P3, whereas the Swift 3 comes with a 14-inch Full HD display that can reach a color gamut range of 64% sRGB, 47% Adobe RGB, and 47% DCI-P3. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, Ben, I thought you said to buy the Swift 3. Why are you showing me all the reasons why the MacBook Pro M1 is better? And I will reply by saying, I am showing you exactly why the MacBook Pro M1 is double the price of the Swift 3. When you pour an extra $600 into a laptop, you get a more color accurate screen, a brighter screen, thicker aluminum, and a little bit better battery life. Speaking of battery life, while web browsing, you will get roughly 15 hours or more out of the MacBook Pro M1 and roughly 11 hours out of the Swift 3. Now, currently the Swift 3 is my everyday carry. I actually have taken this laptop on a road trip and worked for about 9 hours with the screen at half brightness. And when I finished the day, I still had roughly 25% battery life. So I have used this computer extensively for over 6 to 8 months now. So it has been my everyday carry. It's been durable, it's been reliable, and I really enjoy this laptop. However, as you know, it is not the Mac OS, so that is a trade-off that you will make for that minus $600-ish. As I open the lid on each of these laptops, I'm able to do so with one hand. The hinges are smooth and strong. As mentioned earlier, neither the Swift 3 or the MacBook Pro M1 have any screen flex due to their singular long hinges spanning the entire bottom bezel of the screen. So both are sturdy and reliable. The Swift 3 comes with a much wider variety of ports. You got USB, USB-C, HDMI, and a headphone jack. The MacBook Pro limits you to Thunderbolt and headphone jack. Regarding the fan noise and cooling, both of these laptops run cool and quiet. The MacBook Pro is slightly more quiet than the Swift 3. During all of the hours I spent using and testing, the fans did not turn on for the MacBook Pro, so the room was always louder than any noise from the computer. While using the Swift 3, I have noticed fans kick on while web browsing, but they usually only reach about 37 to 40 decibels, really no matter what I'm doing. While exporting video editing projects and working in Photoshop, I found the fans would kick up to about 45 decibels on the Swift 3, but once again, no fans kicked on for the MacBook Pro. It really is incredible how quiet the MacBook Pro is, and honestly, it's nearly silent because you can't really hear any of the other internal parts making noise. So if you're somebody who wants a quiet computer, then the MacBook Pro will be the pick for you. Now, to check out how well the fans did cooling the components during these different tests, here are the benchmark results. The keyboard on the Swift 3 is good. It has a nice firm snappy key press and a suitable layout. It comes with a nice trimmed down key selection, no numpad, which I appreciate. I'm not a big numpad fan. I don't ever use it, so that's a really big bonus for me. The keys on the MacBook Pro versus the Swift 3, I will have to give my award to the MacBook Pro. The Swift 3 has pretty well backlit keys. You can see them, but the backlighting is inconsistent. So it looks a little mushy. It doesn't look as refined and high quality. So if you're somebody who really wants the aesthetic of your computer to be a quality, super top notch, and you see all your keys perfectly evenly backlit, then the MacBook Pro is going to be your pick. Otherwise, you can see the keys fairly well on the Swift 3, it's just not as refined. The MacBook Pro M1 comes with a soft touch matte finish on the keys that feels very nice beneath my fingers. The keys offer a firm, snappy, quiet key press that is most agreeable. I'm so glad that Apple went back to the Swizzler Switch keyboard, as it is a much better experience and much more reliable. Both the Acer Swift 3 and the MacBook Pro come with all-in-one trackpads with the click built in. The Swift 3 has a manual click, whereas the M1 totes Apple's vibration click. So basically the trackpad isn't manually activated by clicking from the mechanism, moving on the trackpad. Rather, the amount of force that is applied to the trackpad causes a vibration that feels like a click. I've noticed that this causes occasional errors when trying to drag and drop items or when conducting video edits, but Apple has really fine-tuned the trackpad and I do like it a lot. However, I do see those occasional misses. And although the Swift 3 uses a mechanical trackpad, it is still quiet and smooth. Here's an audio sample of me using both trackpads and keyboard decks so you can know what to expect. If you're enjoying this video and getting some value, ever so gently, just tap down on that like button or give it a click, and also drop a comment below and let me know how you plan on using either of these laptops. I always like to know what people's use cases are so I know how to bring the most value to you in the future. And if you want to hear more videos from this channel and you don't want to miss a single upload, then make sure you click the subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any of the future uploads. Okay, on to the main event, the performance benchmarking test between the Acer Swift 3 and the 2020 MacBook Pro M1. The Acer Swift 3 I'm reviewing comes with an AMD Ryzen 7 4700U with 8 cores and 8 threads. The AMD Radeon 7 graphics, those are integrated graphics, 8 gigs of RAM and 512 gig NVMe SSD. Whereas the MacBook Pro M1 comes with Apple's M1 8-core, 8-thread chip, 8-core GPU plus 16-core neural engine, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 512 gig SSD as well. Kicking things off, we're going to jump into the simulated benchmark tools to check out how each of these laptops handles Cinebench and Geekbench. This will be an interesting head-to-head because the Swift 3 and the MacBook Pro M1 both come with 8 cores and 8 threads, no hyper-threading. According to the benchmarks, it looks as if the MacBook Pro M1 completely crushes the Swift 3, but this is not true to my experience. When using the Swift 3 in Photoshop and some light on-the-go 1080p video editing projects, it performed well for me without a hitch. Getting out of this simulated test and onto some real world apps, let's take a look to see how well these laptops will perform in Adobe's design suite by benchmarking them with Puget Systems Photoshop benchmark. Both laptops perform well, and regarding the points scored, the Swift 3 only falls slightly behind the MacBook Pro M1. The Swift 3 scored a 478, while the MacBook Pro M1 scored a 565. Looking at my charts, you can see that the Swift 3 is actually outperforming the current MacBook Pro 13-inch with the Intel Core i5 offering, which by the way is a well-suited laptop for creator tasks. So that the Swift 3 outperforms it is a good sign for anyone considering a laptop over $1,000 cheaper than, say, the MacBook Pro 13 with the i5. That's the 2020 edition. So you can snag the Swift 3 for roughly around $650 to $700 depending on when you purchase it. That's pretty incredible. Now on to my favorite benchmark test, video editing. This is where the Swift 3 gets a little in over its head. The tests I conducted are all based on 4K footage. First, I'm going to start off with a playback test. For this test, I'm going to use a 9-minute 4K clip, add some motion graphics, and then play back the timeline at full quality. This clip contains 16,177 frames in total, with 7,240 of those frames being motion graphics. During this test, the Swift 3 saw drop frame rates as follows. At full quality, 15,513 out of the 16,177 drop frames. It's pretty atrocious, to be totally honest, which is why I recommend this computer being a 1080p on-the-go video editing machine. At half quality, it saw 12,899 drop frames, and at fourth quality, 841 drop frames. So could this be used as a 4K video editing machine at fourth quality? Yes, it could. Will it be a seamless experience? No, it will not. During this test, the 2020 MacBook Pro M1 saw drop frame rates as follows. At full quality, 5,481, at half quality, 375, and at fourth quality, 0 drop frames. So as this computer can handle Premiere Pro with very little drop frames at half and no drop frames at fourth quality, again, we are seeing these take place on what's called Rosetta 2. It's an emulation that basically takes a Intel native application like Adobe Premiere Pro and then puts it over onto Apple silicone. People have given me crap about how I say that. So silicon, and this allows you to use the app which was actually built for Intel. So once we get a native app for Apple Silicon, you will see these benchmarks improve drastically. So that's another thing to mention. Take it or leave it. If you're going to be playing back and editing 4K footage on one of these laptops, then the MacBook Pro M1 gets triple the smoothness while editing. Basically, the Swift 3 is somewhat unusable, definitely at full quality. So with that in mind, if you purchase the Swift 3, just note that you will need to shoot and edit 1080p to have a very, very smooth experience, which in my opinion is totally fine. I currently shoot and edit everything 1080p on my channel. Plus, did you know that phones are only HD 1080p? So nearly everyone watching your edits will not know any difference. If you're looking for a laptop that is highly color accurate, all aluminum, handles Photoshop in the top of its category, is capable of 4K video editing, and destroys simulated benchmarking tools, just in case you want to impress the neighbor kids, then by golly, you better get the MacBook Pro M1. However, if you're looking for a laptop at half the cost but 90% of the performance, with excellent battery life, great on-the-go form factor, fast while working in Adobe's design suite, and 1080p video editing, then you'll want to snag the Acer Swift 3. Don't forget that if you're curious about the price point and availability of either of these laptops, head down in the description below, click one of those links. Remember, if you do make a purchase, I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you, and that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. If you want to watch more videos about the Acer Swift 3 or the MacBook Pro M1, click or tap the screen over here. Otherwise, keep editing, keep creating, keep designing, and I'll see you here on the next video.